I feel like if I have kids, they'd all learn something different from each of you, like as uncles.
Uncle
That's
Taylor?
funny.
Oh yeah. Uncle
I didn't do
Vincent?
anything wrong.
Oh.
Oh, Phil, I must have something wrong about my love life that my dad wants me to fix.
More
Lunch break.
Today, we're going to be talking about parenting. We know a lot of kids right now are being homeschooled. There's a lot of family time being spent together. And also, it's the month of June, so that means Father's Day is coming up. So we thought we'd gather the Wong Fu daddies for a daddy's lunch break.
It's not just us here today. We have Han, and Han requested us eat American or fast food. So what are you guys eating?
I got a double dog.
Taylor's
Nice.
infamous double dog.
Well, I got a
you.
burger, I got a hamburger and fries.
I had In-N-Out yesterday, so that counts. It's still in me right now.
You did an early screener.
Yeah.
I got a Subway sandwich.
So we're talking about parenting, and Father's Day is coming up. So we got some dudes here that can maybe share some thoughts.
None of us are parents yet.
I think I would be the closest to it with two puppies. So it definitely
yeah.
feels like parenting.
Yeah.
I think I'm the closest to it because I have a cafe that is living and breathing also.
We also have a production company too.
No, I actually have you guys and the Bubble staff.
Well, you're not wiping any of their butts, are you?
That's true.
I mean, with that being said, have you guys thought about becoming a parent? Do you guys plan on having kids in the future or want to have kids down the line?
You know, it was a thought that I used to have the same way you think you're gonna be certain things. As I get older, it's more like one step at a time. You guys are all in relationships, so that kind of puts you on track for certain things. Sometimes I think I would like to be a dad. Other times I'm glad I'm not. I don't think I can answer that question right now. It changes,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I definitely want to have kids. I know a lot of people go through phases of like they do and then they don't for a little bit. I think I've always wanted it. I just never was sure when.
Yeah, I think now's been like an interesting time, like hearing all these stories about like friends or family members and having kids during this time, like homeschooling, and all of a sudden you're spending 24 hours a day with your kids. So I always like to hypothesize or kind of like think about what I would do in that situation. Like if I had kids during this time, like even with the dogs, like having to feed them, entertain them, get them exercise, and then like thinking about how to add kids into the equation. I actually think about quite a bit.
Yeah, there's definitely like I'm probably the hectic side of having kids during this time, but you're definitely hearing a lot of stories of parents that are also like really loving this extra time that they're having with their family that they wouldn't have otherwise, and them feeling like they're catching the moments and experiencing the moments.
Taylor, you for sure. What about you?
Oh yeah, I mean I've thought about it too. You know, like I think there's always a plan down the line to have kids. I don't have it in my plan right now, or I don't see it coming right now, or we don't have any dates or anything like that, or benchmarks. But I'm sure I'm gonna have kids at some
You know what's
point.
crazy? Like I think about my sister and when she first started having kids, and she was younger than you two. I try to imagine if you guys had kids right now. Oh my god.
I can admit, like, kind of off what you guys are saying, I could admit that it's like the uncle syndrome. You know, like I want the good parts of it, but I know that the dirty stuff and the stuff that really takes a lot of patience and heart, like I know that I'm not ready for that. But that kind of stuff is what gets you close and what establishes that bond. You know, and I think it's also worth noting that, you know, as the guys here, it's very easy for us to say, oh, we want kids, and oh, we don't know when. But much respect to all the women that it's a very different story for them.
Yeah, they have a different a whole different section of thoughts that are associated with
Right.
when I have kids. Obviously, the biological clock is, you know, a hot topic. You know,
Well,
amongst
it's
women.
very real.
In a very different way, but I actually still feel a little bit of that biological clock, you know, for different reasons, obviously. But I think recently, you know, I do think about how old of a dad that I want to be. At this point, the kids to me is almost like just like a math equation. Like you can't fast forward how fast they grow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you just know that the result is you want to be around this age when they're this age, and you just work backwards, it's just time, and you can't change that. So it's like you just got to start, right? And
It's like a mortgage. You know?
Yeah.
It's an 18-year mortgage.
So that's kind of my thought process, and I also think about like my parents getting older too, and how I also want my kids to be a certain age for them to experience my parents as grandparents, and also my parents to be able to see them grow up to a certain age too. And that's what's really pushing me to just get started now, to just start growing the organism, like put in
Easy
the
for
oven,
you to say.
Have you guys thought about, boys or girls or how many? And obviously that's not in our control all the time, but ideally, what do you think?
I want at least two and at least one of each, and I would want the girl first.
Why specifically the girl first?
I think it's very natural for people to like want their kids to have the same kind of upbringing that they had.
Yes.
So they think,
Yes.
oh, it was this way for me and it was really good this way, right? The main reason why I want a girl first is not necessarily just because I think I want the daughter to be the oldest, but also I think having a daughter first will help ease me into being a father a
Really?
little bit better. Yeah.
I think that's like advanced fatherhood.
At least at a baby stage. I've heard from a lot of friends that's like boys are like the worst. And it's like if I already know that this new human, this new life is going to be coming in and just like wreaking havoc on my life, like I feel like I'll have a softer spot for a girl.
I'm in the same boat with like one of each and two. I keep bringing up the dogs. Like having two dogs is a lot different from having one dog. And
We're
then
gonna have
having
so many people in the comments are like, Princeton is not like a dog at all.
I also think about like population. 2 and 2, it cancels out, right? So like I'm not contributing
It
to
cancels
to
out.
overpopulation. You know what
That's
I mean?
how it works.
So
Wait,
I think
wait.
about that too.
How does it cancel out?
Cause gender.
No. I'm saying when you produce 2 children, that cancels out yourself for when you don't add to the population. Like if you have a third child, you're adding 1 to the population after your.
Okay, Thanos.
Sure. Yeah.
You guys don't think about that? You don't think about your impact on the planet when you're thinking
Yeah,
about
but I don't
I-
think that's how population works. But but I do. That's a good point. Like,
It's 2 in, 2 out.
Oh, you're talking about yourself and Jessica.
Yes.
Okay, at first I was like, how does you as one person equate to 2 people? Okay, you guys both have older brothers. All of you have older brothers, right? How is that?
It's like what you said though, Phil. It's like we think what we had is the norm, so it's hard for us to really see it another way.
exactly, right?
Actually, the only thing I know about having an older sister is like certain friends are sisterly. I can't really imagine what our relationship would be, and you want to think it would be the best.
Taylor, what about you?
I feel like I've heard good for boy first, and then girl second, and bad stories about both scenarios too. It's interesting.
I want to hear the bad stories. What are the bad situations?
It's more that like it was hard on the older sibling as a girl to have a younger brother, especially if he's a prince, and they cherished him, and the baby of the family, and stuff like that. Like, but it's not a blanket statement either. Yeah, I'm the same. I was always thinking at least one of each too.
Since you're from a family that has 3,
Yeah.
right? Do you want 3 yourself?
No, not necessarily, because I think it is a financial factor at that point too. It's raising 3 kids is a luxury in some sense as well. I can't even wrap my head around 1 right now, so even to think about 3 is crazy.
I can't wait for you guys to watch this episode with your kids at a certain age, and for them to see what you guys thought as just regular guys that didn't really know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Kind
You
of.
didn't want me? You wanted a boy? Yeah. Or you wanted a girl?
No, but isn't it crazy to think about? It's like you're at this point in your life where your parents were thinking about having you. So like I've gone however many years. So this is where like my dad was at his point in his life. Obviously the times were really different, but
Yeah, the world's changed a lot, but and probably gotten way more complicated. But in the end, it's like no one really knows if they're going to be a good parent. They try their best, and they hope for the best.
I'm trying to think of each of y'all as parents, and I feel like we've like made jokes about this in games before, like
yeah.
who'd be the best parent, or whatever.
Babysitting, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Hey everyone, Father's Day is coming up, so you're probably wondering, what should I get my dad or father figure? My dad is personally pretty picky because I know that he cherishes time with our family more than anything. That's why this year I want to give him a super meaningful gift, a chance to connect with us through Storyworth. Storyworth is a fun and meaningful way to engage with your family, especially ones that you can't see right now. This online service helps you share stories with your loved ones through thought-provoking questions about their lives. It's the gift of spending time together wherever you live. Reading the stories every week has been super fun to reminisce and learn new things about my dad. For example, we reminisced about the time he first told us about his first date with our mom, and he had to clarify some of the details, but that was a super fun way to connect with each other. After 1 year, Storyworth compiled all those awesome photos and stories that you submitted into a keepsake book that will ship for free. So I definitely can't wait till we get that final book to give to my dad. Give your dad the most meaningful gift this year with Storyworth. You can get started right away without the need for shipping by going to storyworth.com/lunch. You'll get $10 off your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/lunch for $10 off. Enjoy!
Benson's going to be a very reliable dad. Like, yeah, he's always going to have an answer. And I think you and I are going to be similar this way, where we will always think that we have the right answer, or we will always know the right way. Like, you'll want to teach your kid the proper way to wash dishes. Helena's already been telling me, she's like, dude, our kids are gonna be so annoyed because you're gonna be so nitpicky about every little thing.
Yeah, I am pretty particular.
But you also, are right, or know a lot of things too.
Like, you're gonna learn a lot of valuable skill. They'll be like, kind of roll their eyes at it, like, oh, here's another lesson from dad.
Who do you think is gonna be the most embarrassing dad?
Taylor for sure.
Embarrassing dads turn into the most lovable dads down the line. Embarrassing dad is like a 10-year period between the teen era, and once they get out of college, they're like, oh my God. My friends love you, and you know what? I love you, and you should be my best man at my wedding. It's one of those things. That's the evolution of the awkward dad.
You're going to be actually saying what you just said to your teenage daughter. And trust me.
Watch this part of the lunch break.
I'm embarrassing right now, but you're going to get over it. I promise. She's going to want to strangle you.
When they have the resentful phase and they're kind of rebellious, part of me is thinks I'm going to be being objective about it and be like, oh, this is a phase. I'm going to poke fun or make light of this situation. Just to know that
and that makes it worse.
And that might make it worse. I'm scared of that.
No, actually, just a few days ago, I was having a serious talk with one of our staff, and they're a little younger, and I was trying so hard not to say things of oh, trust me, when you get to my age, or okay, you don't get it right now because you have to it's like a minefield, right? Because that'll just set them off even more. I don't think Taylor is going to be a very you're not going to reprimand your kids a lot.
No, you need
that's
to.
That's gonna be mom's job.
No, that's a skill that I think I'm flagging is you got to be able to switch and be intimidating and authoritative when you need to be, but consoling and lovable at other times, right?
I think I'm gonna be very open about not knowing and wanting to figure things out with them.
Wes is gonna be the other kid that's also the parent.
Yeah, maybe. I think I might have an idea of what they should be or what I think is right, but I want them to find that on their own.
Yeah, I think Wes will be the type of Asian dad that, not to say that not negligent, but just you're oh, you can do whatever, and then perhaps your your wife or whatever will be the one that's Wes, you need to be more authoritative. You need to be more strict.
I think a lot of it will come from my own childhood. I think I'll want at least what I had, and that means being okay not doing what everyone else is doing, but knowing that that's okay.
On that topic, actually, of disciplining, how are you all gonna discipline your kids?
The punishment should match the crime. So what is the crime?
Okay, this is pretty real. They got caught stealing in middle school.
Stealing what?
Yeah. No, these questions matter.
I feel I would try to go the route of okay, who are you stealing from, and go to that person, and you have to apologize face to face. I think that's a very important thing that people need to learn how to do.
So if it was a store, if it was a Target,
oh my God, if they shoplift,
you would take them to Target and tell them to say sorry to.
Put it back on the hanger.
To who?
Go up to the cashier.
I would hire an actor maybe to play with the victim.
What is Arrested Development?
Yeah,
I think that's a good scenario.
Because you gotta see how it affects the other side. I think that's the biggest thing. Where as a kid growing up, or even as a teenager, you don't a lot of the reason you do things without thinking is because you don't understand what the consequence that word is.
But Benson, right? In this case you have to hire an actor, because if you go back to a Walmart, the employee that is going to be yeah, whatever, I don't care. Then
you stole this?
I didn't even know.
He stole this. I gotta tell my manager now. Wait, don't just tell my kid something meaningful and impactful, please. Don't tell your manager.
All right, here's next scenario. What if your daughter is dating someone you don't approve of? Let's say high school. So it's actually like it's actually meaningful.
Just contextually, is she the type that has been rebellious always, or this is like
Let's
unexpected?
say okay. So yeah, that's a good point. Let's say she has been rebellious, and I guess in that sense you probably should have seen it coming. Oh man, like this.
Not like super rebellious. Maybe like you've had she's generally been okay.
Yeah.
She's been a little distant to you, at least recently through middle school, high school.
Yeah, it's not like she's like a delinquent kid.
All right,
But,
I'm gonna add to that. Phil, she is watching this episode right now. You're watching this.
She would have watched Wong Fu. She's rebellious.
No, she's like, man, my dad doesn't get me. I mean, I'm sure he was young at the time too. So she goes on YouTube, whatever it is at the time. She types up. She's like, oh my God, my dad is talking about what it's like. Oh my God, that's me. Talk to her right now. Talk to her.
Daughter.
Daughter.
A lot of times in life, you meet people that you think are your world, and that
Oh my God,
that
Dad, I've seen this short.
I would try to give them a chance, that person, and then I would try to talk to her to see, why do you like this person so much? And then if I have clear evidence of why they are not, I would present that evidence and try to reason with her about why she thinks it's a good idea to continue. And after a certain point, you got to let them make their own mistakes, I guess. And you just have to be there for them when they either get their heart broken or they get hurt.
Yeah.
As long as that person is not going to harm them, I will probably let it run its course. Because I know generally high school or maybe even college, this relationship isn't even going to last.
Statistically speaking.
So I'll let it run its course until the point where someone's being physically hurt or like.
Well, Phil, you won't really know. That's the scary part about.
I know. Yeah, I know. That's
You gotta condition them and put good values
early on. Yeah.
Early on, and make sure that when you start seeing the signs of dating and stuff, you're talking to them about sex and like love and stuff like that.
Oh my
right?
God, that's
like,
not even. Yeah.
You give them the information for them to make informed decisions hopefully on their own, and then also put guidelines around them.
And this applies to the boys too. Like maybe even
Yeah.
more so. I'm actually really excited to raise a son so that I can feel like I'm putting a better man out in the world. Hopefully I can be able to do that.
I feel like if I have kids, they'd all learn something different from each of you. Like as uncles,
The uncle panel.
they'd each get something different, and
Yeah.
I think that's
That's
important
funny.
too.
Uncle
That's funny.
Taylor? Oh yeah. Uncle
I didn't do
Vincent?
anything wrong.
Oh.
Oh, Phil, I must have something wrong about my love life that my dad wants me to fix.
Okay, here's another question. Because I remember as a kid seeing other kids have different systems in their house, and I'm being jealous. So in terms of rewarding your kids, or how do you incentivize your kids? So I remember when I was in elementary school, maybe even middle school, I had friends. Their parents had like a point system where like for every like chore they did or whatever, they get like a little star. And once they got to 10 stars, they would get a toy that was like $10 or something.
That makes it easy. I think it's very clear in that sense of like what you have to do, but then the reasons are wrong, right?
Well, I don't think there can be any good reason. I think when you're a kid, like to like instill like you should be doing this for enrichment is not gonna happen.
It's not enrichment. For me, it was you don't get points for doing something you're supposed to do. Everyone has to do their part to help out. Like when you get home from school, you water these flowers. If you don't water them, they're gonna die. And it's very clear. Like if you don't do your part, the consequence will be clear.
I enjoyed watering things because I got to play with the hose and I got to play with the
That was good parenting. They made you think
Yeah.
that that's fun.
Yeah.
Wow, they really didn't give you much technology then, huh?
Because like it's like a water gun. Like I got to like use a powerful water gun. I thought
That's
that
a
was
good
so
way
fun.
to do it. Hey, here's a water gun. Now go shoot those plants.
And
Go shoot
after
those
that,
plants.
after that, go shoot the dishes and get all that stuff off them.
Ooh, isn't that fun? Like little zombies on the dish.
Yeah, I didn't have a point system. I did have an allowance. They only gave it to me because they knew that I would be smart about it.
Well, we got to think about like what it would be like in the future too. So like
Yeah.
maybe instead of points, it'd be like bandwidth or data. You know, screen time. You have to rack up like screen time.
Yeah,
It's true.
The units to barter with will be different.
But
'Cause-
kids are so savvy, man.
Yeah,
They're gonna know loopholes before you don't know the
Yeah.
restrictions.
oh my
And
god.
that's another thing too. Like everyone says, "Oh, I'm gonna not make my kids have tech or whatever," and
That's the wrong call.
I've heard from a lot of parents too, where first of all, like it's impossible to not give them technology at some point. Like at 24 hours a day of just trying to like give them a coloring book just doesn't work, right?
It's a little irresponsible too, I think, to keep them that away from it.
And the other thing too is like, even if you don't have an iPad for them in your house, when they go to school, they're going to see their friends. Then you have to start thinking, am I making my kid less proficient, you know, by holding back now, right?
Treat it as literacy, as anything else. Like you want them to be proficient so that they're capable, but they're not relying on it.
When I finally could get a reward, I would ask for specific things, and they didn't necessarily know what they were buying either. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I'm like trying to flag as like a parent. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you stay informed about what is out there and what's trendy as a kid?
You keep buying them as an adult so that you're always in the know.
I think I'm gonna go to those PTA meetings, and like,
Yeah.
it's like you gotta go, or like the parent like just gatherings where they all just share information about each other's kids. You
Oh
know,
my
like
God, yeah.
what's going on? What do they buy? What is like? Why do they do that? What's that thing they're saying? What do they?
I'm already feeling it. Like even like the Wong Fu TikTok, like the latest TikTok, like I was so confused. I was like, why is this a thing? And then I had to like research, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's funny. Once again, we didn't even scratch the surface because obviously raising kids is an infinite like well of challenges.
If anything, this video is gonna serve as like a timestamp
Yeah.
for our kids to use against us, to be like, look how cool this you were.
That's why it's gonna be unlisted starting 2025. I hope you guys like this talk about us projecting about our parenting styles. Let us know in the comments what you think we'd be like as parents.
Or maybe if you have tips for us.
If you have
Yeah.
tips for us, yeah, we clearly have no idea what we're talking about.
As always, thank you guys for supporting Wong Fu Productions, which is our kid collectively. Wong Fu is our kid. And you guys are helping us out whenever you get something at the store, wongfustore.com, or join Wong Fu Forward, which is our Patreon page. So thanks a lot, guys.
Father's Day is coming up. Spend some time with your parents. Tell them you love them. We'll be back with another episode next Thursday.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Happy Father's Day.
Bye.
Bye.